Trump approved a hybrid plan that saw more than 100 advanced missiles fired at the three Syrian targets early Saturday. Reuters. President Donald Trump deferred to his Pentagon chief's caution and tempered his preference for a more robust attack on Syria over allegations it used deadly gas on civilians, the first hints at the direction of his revamped national security team. The decision late last week, detailed by people familiar with the process, marked the first substantive test of the group now that John Bolton is serving as Trump's national security advisor, The Wall Street Journal reported. After days of tense White House meetings, the president and his advisors agreed on one of the most restrained of the military strike options crafted by the Pentagon, a powerful missile attack aimed at three targets meant to hobble the Syrian regime's ability to use chemical weapons and deter President Bashar al-Assad from using them again. The outcome was a sign of the sizable influence Defense Secretary Jim Mattis still wields in the reorganized national security team. Faced with a push from the president for a muscular response to the alleged chemical weapons attack that killed at least 43 people, Mattis presented the White House with three military options, according to the people familiar with the decision-making. The most conservative option would have hit a narrow set of targets related to Syria's chemical weapons capabilities. Read Elson, Nikki Haley says more sanctions against Russia coming Monday. The second option proposed strikes on a broader set of Syrian regime targets, including suspected chemical weapons research facilities and military command centers. The most expansive proposal, which might have included strikes on Russian air defenses in Syria, was designed to cripple the regime's military capabilities without touching Mr. Assad's political machinery. The most ambitious of the proposals was 3 times the size of the one eventually carried out by U.S., British and French forces. Mr. Trump approved a hybrid plan that saw more than 100 advanced missiles fired at the 3 Syrian targets early Saturday. That action reflected a melding the first 2 options, modest missile strikes, but ones the Trump administration said delivered a decisive blow to Assad's chemical weapons capabilities. Read Elsa Stoltenberg, all NATO allies fully support joint military action in Syria while Trump pressed his team to also consider strikes on Russian and Iranian targets in Syria if necessary to get at the Assad regime's military equipment. Mattis pushed back, those familiar with the decision-making said, according to WSJ. If you see a spelling error on our site, select it and press Ctrl-Enter. Latest news 11 o'clock WSJ, Trump bowed to Pentagon restraint on Syria strikes. 10 o'clock group of Kiev roofers conquered Druzhby Narodivark. 9:40 Ukraine reports 59 enemy attacks in Donbas. 2 WIAs in last day. 9:20 German minister tells Russia its behavior must change. 9 o'clock Syria bombings. Johnson warns UK must prepare for Russian retaliation. 22:53 CNN, Nikki Haley says more sanctions against Russia coming Monday. 21:45 Ukraine reports 28 enemy attacks in Donbas. 1 WIA on April 14. 13:50 Ukraine reports 1 WIA in Donbas amid 43 enemy attacks in last day. 23:30 Ukraine's Turchinov, Kremlin was preparing to invade Kiev in 2014. 22:30 Why isn't Ukraine doing more to free its hostages? Atlantic Council. 2040 Ukraine, India defense industries enhancing cooperation. 2010 Poroshenko calls for stripping Russia of veto right in UNSC. 1930 Joint Forces operation to be launched in Donbas. April 30. Poroshenko. 1830 Lithuanian PM supports continued arms deliveries to Ukraine. Report 1619-2. Ukrainian banks plan merger. 1603 Finland grants all required permits for Nord Stream 2 construction. 1518 Putin mulling new invasion of Ukraine in autumn. SBU 1450 NATO says Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic aspirations realistic. 1342 Ukrainian port may double grain handling. Media. 1311 NSDC to consider new sanctions against Russia next week. Turchinov. 1213 Telegram chat app blocked in Russia. Media. 1130 Ukraine, Romania agree to see compromise on education law. 1102 DPR, platoon commander killed in Donbas. Photo. 917 NBU weakens official forex rate to 25 Ukrainian hryvnias and 98 kopeckas to $8.55. Reuters, oil eases as Trump backtracks on imminent Syria strike. 2310 Ukrainian to be taught at schools across Turkey. Media. 2230 London calls for UN Security Council meeting in Skripal case. 2220 Sweden Navy chief aims to grow sea power. 2030 Ukraine must pay off almost $116 billion in foreign debt by 2045. 1950 Kafka, spinning in grave, as Russia tries to justify disinformation. 1645 Kiev may outlaw plastic bags. 1610 Ukraine to officially quit CIS. Poroshenko.